Hello, welcome back to the Noble Podcast. Hopefully, you guys have enjoyed the previous episodes. Today, we are joined with some new guests and friends of mine. First, we have. An,
Robert Herrera. I'm with Here to Help Legal.
I was going to introduce
Oh,
you.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You're good. And my other friend Anna. Go ahead.
Anna Sarukhanyan from Sarukhanyan Law Group.
Right. So far, we've had different setups. Today, since we all basically are very experienced in workers' compensation law, I figured we can shoot some topics and have some conversation about not only uh, cases and personal experiences, but also try to give some advice to clients and talk about running a business.
Yeah, great. I think we got a great panel here.
Yeah. So you guys have not met, right?
No, this is our
No,
first time
today
meeting.
we met and I feel like I've known him for a long time.
Yeah. And both of you guys have something on me, which is you guys both worked defense at some point too.
Yeah,
right?
I learned that about Anna.
And one thing we all have in common is we all more or less started our new venture, right? Yeah.
Correct.
You
I
were,
started about 3 years ago.
yeah, like 3 years.
Yeah, I switched to representing injured workers 2019.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think we all have some similar perspectives and different ones too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Correct.
I'm actually very happy that you were an addition to this session.
I'm happy too. This is a little outside of my comfort zone. However, I'm here to answer any questions and try to make this as fun as possible.
Yeah. So I know like maybe I'm not anything like Jimmy Kimmel, like I'm no trained host, but to compensate for that, I did print out a bunch of questions and I cut them out so that we can go back and forth, have some discussion about some various topics. A lot of them are workers' comp stuff, and I do have some random questions in there as well. I think if you're not comfortable with the question or it's just something that maybe a little bit too specific and you're not going to be able to recall every law right now, feel free to pass, just grab another
Yeah.
card.
I have a question for you that's not in there, I think.
Please.
Why did you start the podcast?
Okay. So one of the reasons I started the podcast is because I noticed there was a shift overall from text and photo content to video content. And it's one of those things where I want to be ahead of the curve. I knew that when I started this, I was not going to be perfect or anywhere near perfect. But I figured the only way to do it right is to start early and just keep going at it, practice, try to make each session a little bit different, a little bit better. And then eventually the formula will be clear. And at that point, hopefully I'm better on camera.
Yeah, I see that like more and more. Are you doing social media, like videos on
I'm
social
not
media?
into a lot of social media.
Yeah.
I think that's one area that nowadays the overall market requires. You see a lot of attorneys spending a lot of time doing it. It's just not my comfort zone, but I think that's one area that I will definitely need to work on.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I'm here today.
Yeah. I mean, part of it is also I want to bring friends and get them to make that jump to make more content, produce, not only informational videos, but tell their story so other people that are watching could relate and, hopefully get them business, make new relationships. Like right now, you guys met each other.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't have if we didn't do this podcast.
Yeah. All right. This is the only time I've seen you in a while, so I'll come on anytime just to hang out with you.
Sure. And you were going to wear a suit today. Huh?
I was going to wear a suit. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I just want to be presentable, but I don't wear a suit every day, so I know that's,
Yeah.
You know.
I wanted to make sure that anyone that comes here is comfortable. I don't think posturing is part of my style when it comes to connecting with clients. I want to make anyone watching these videos to feel like they're in this room with us and just listening to the conversation.
Yeah.
So I know that you wanted to wear your nice suit.
Yes.
But I don't think.
Next time.
Yeah.
I will say this, that on the videos, like
Yeah.
when I do social media, when I wear a suit, I do get a lot more like interaction or responses. as opposed to like when I'm just in the office wearing a polo or a collared shirt.
And doing a
Yeah,
video in
doing
the
it with the
call.
tie and the suit, I feel like it hits a lot more, I think, on social media. I don't know if whether
Okay.
people just they like that look or
The
you know,
professionalism.
that professional
I,
look.
I
But
feel like people, like general public, think of an attorney to be this guy or a girl all dressed up in heels, hair done, everything done, but they don't see us behind the scenes
Exactly.
in our PJs in our offices doing the hard work.
yeah.
I think that may be part of it. That's why we are thought of, we have to wear a suit to be presentable, but that's not always accurate, which is actually one of the questions here, if I may ask. I don't know where it went,
You
but I've
cheated.
already kind of a little bit. It was, how do you spend your day to day being in the office?
Yeah.
So
For sure. Uh, Also, to add to what you said, I don't think it's whether you wear a suit or not. I mean, I think you just, compared to the other attorneys that are flooding Instagram with their ads and videos and suits, like maybe you come off a little bit differently. I mean, you have like a different energy.
That's because I'm passionate about what I do. So like
Yeah.
I do get some compliments on my social media, and it's generally I would just roll with it. You know, we hired a social media guy, and he would come in with the script, and I would do it, and I'm like, that's not me. It's not authentic. You know, it's just not who I am. And then he was like, okay, like let's just talk about something, and I would talk about like a case that I just settled or a case that I'm having difficulty with. And people respond better to that because I know that they see like, oh, like he's authentic, he's passionate about what he does,
Right.
and it just kind of goes over well.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
all for it.
Yeah. Wait, what was the question?
the question was, how do you spend your day to day in an office?
Oh.
Like what your regular day looks like in an office.
For me, responding to emails, that's like I get so many emails a day. So I'm just, that's kind of how I move cases along is I get the email, I try to respond to my emails. Obviously, like we do have court hearings, but court hearings, you got to wait in line. You're waiting 30 minutes to be called. And then during that time, I'm, responding to emails, moving cases along. But yeah, I spend a lot of my day responding to emails.
Yeah, man, that's definitely part of it.
Yeah.
I would, just to not be redundant, because obviously we all spend a lot of time with emails. I like to, for me, if I'm able to plan all the stuff I need to do in the day in a way that's like the most efficient, that makes me feel good. So, for example, if I do have phone calls scheduled on top of just like, balancing, not only I have housework being done, like we're doing some construction. I have the new baby that,
Congratulations.
sometimes
Yeah,
I have to step in
congrats.
and take care. Thank you. So that plus work means that my day-to-day schedule has to be planned perfectly. Like if I'm going to step out for half an hour or 1 hour to drive and like do some errands, on that drive, I want to schedule phone calls days ahead of time. So I'm not wasting time basically, and I'm able to do things at the same time. Like I don't want to be home on a call and then all of a sudden, then it doesn't coincide with nap time, and then my baby starts crying, and I don't want that to be on the phone call. You know what I mean? If I'm home. So part of my day is not just the emails, but like I take time and try to organize the best I can to run things smoothly.
Yeah. I think like one thing people don't realize is that us as lawyers, like we have a life outside of
Right.
our law
We
practice.
do?
Yeah. Sometimes I've like been on vacation and they'll call and they'll say like, well, unfortunately, Robert's out of the office for the week.
Yeah.
He's on vacation. I've had clients get mad. Like, what is he doing? Why is he taking a vacation? I have my case ongoing and for them, it's important. I understand that, they may be not getting paid at that time. So they're worried about rent and whatnot. And so it is important to have that schedule. And it's also important to like maintain that work-life balance.
Yeah.
For me, for example, I like to every night or at the end of the day when I'm ready to go home, which is around 7, 8 o'clock, I like to write 3 things that I have to do the following day. Three
Yeah.
things. What is the most important thing that needs to be done tomorrow? Either it's reviewing a case or talking to a defense attorney. It can be as small as that, or like reviewing certain settlement documents. What is that one thing that I need to do? And then I try to come up with minimum 3, maximum 10 that I have to do. Because I feel like when it's too much, then you don't accomplish, and then you feel like you haven't,
Sure.
kept up with your list. I try to do those 3 tasks. And then when I go to the office, Those three tasks usually take priority over other things. Usually within the week, I have a minimum 2-3 depositions or 2-3 court appearances.
Yeah.
So I attend to those. Obviously, emails are always there. I think they're nonstop. I even answer emails, while I'm eating at my
Yeah, yeah.
desk, so they never stop. But though, the one thing that I try to make sure that I do is come up with what is the most important thing that I have to accomplish tomorrow, and put that on that piece of paper or in my mind. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. And then I do those 3 items. When those are done, you feel like, oh, I've accomplished what I needed to today. And then the rest seem as if like they add on to what you have already done.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's a good strategy.
But most of my time is spent in the office. Come in around 8, leave around 8. I have 3
Wow.
kids too.
Wow. And
But
you go downstairs for a soft serve.
oh, sometimes I do that too. So there is this ice cream machine just right in front of my office, and it's very good. So if
Okay.
you ever come by my office, we'll go have an ice
Yeah.
cream.
Yeah, that's good stuff. What else do we have?
I have one that I saw in there.
Go ahead.
It's what's the
So you cheated too?
No, well, they're
I
all
haven't-
laid
Well,
out.
you
Yes.
gave us the cards. How can we just close our eyes, put it down?
Okay, go ahead.
What's the most embarrassing thing that has happened to you professionally?
Oh,
I would assume as a lawyer, but yes.
it was. Can I?
Yeah, of
jump
course.
in? Sorry.
Go.
It's a little embarrassing, but I'm gonna say when I became an attorney, a file was given to me. Here you go to court.
Yeah.
So I went to Van Nuys Court on second floor, and those were the times where you can still go see the secretaries. I don't know when was the last time you've been in Van Nuys, but if you file there, then you remember those times where the doors were open, where you can go back
behind,
and
yeah.
talk to the secretaries. So back then I was doing defense. The applicant attorney didn't show up. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? So I went to the judge. I said, Your Honor, we're at an MSC. I want to close discovery.
Yeah.
The applicant attorney is not here. And it was Judge Cole. I don't know if we're supposed to give names.
Okay.
And Judge Cole wrote, go talk to PJ if I can set you for trial.
The presiding judge.
But it says PJ on a piece of paper.
Oh.
And I took the paper and I stepped outside.
Who's PJ?
Like, whose PJs am I supposed to talk to? I'm like, what am I supposed to do? I'm lost. What the hell am I supposed to do? Anyway, I'm like, okay, let's figure it out. What can this be? And I'm like, okay, let me go to the secretary. So I walked back to the secretary's room and I'm like, I just can't understand what the judge wrote here. Can you just tell me? He's like, yeah, he wrote PJ. I'm like, PJ who? Like, oh, the presiding judge. So that was very embarrassing. I obviously thanked her and I found the presiding judge and I took care of my hearing, but that's very like, what is PJ? It's like your third time in court.
That's not that bad.
Well, it was for me.
What about you? What's yours?
I'm still thinking.
Me too, but I would say probably like one of the moments that I'm most ashamed of, like maybe not embarrassed, is I let a defense attorney like just really get the best of me and like bring out like he just really got under my skin and I just
And then you called me and told me about it.
I'm sure I did. I don't want to mention his name
No,
either,
it's
but I
fine.
basically was like, hey, we put this guy on our, I don't know the list, but the list of
The
hey,
watch out for
Yeah,
list,
yeah.
Oh,
Or-
that list getting longer nowadays.
Yes. And basically, we were in court and he just went right off, just throw me under the bus, saying some things that were untrue.
Yeah.
And I resorted to some language that, I shouldn't have used in court. And the judge was not present, but when the judge came out, he let the judge know. And I was like, yeah, Your Honor, I did say that. And, because it's what he's saying is not true. And it just wasn't a good look for me. And I remember I try not to do that anymore. I just try to be cool and say like, okay, you know what? You can say what you want. You can lie. But I'm just going to, the facts are the facts of the case. So I'll just present
Well, the
that.
opposite of that has happened to me. I mean, it's evident that I have an accent, and that's not something that I'm hiding. I'm proud of it. I speak 4 languages. It's something that, when you come to
What's
a
the
country,
fourth
when
one?
you're 19, Russian, Armenian, French, which
Oh,
I'm already,
French, okay.
Cool.
Like I learned French in school. And so I was 19 years old when I came to this country. So English is my 4th language. And I'm in court one day and I said something, maybe it wasn't the appropriate way of saying it. And this older defense attorney commented on it. And then when we went in front of the judge, he made the same comment again to the judge that I said that sentence. It was nothing like bad or anything. It's just he was making fun of me, and then I just couldn't at that moment. What the defense attorney did for you, I did the same thing. I'm like, Your Honor, I don't think that's appropriate for him to, you know, just think that I'm not enough for him
Sure.
to say
Yeah.
these things to the judge. But
Yeah, I mean, I think what you said
Yeah.
reminded me of a similar memory. Probably one of my first depositions that I took as a applicant attorney, and you know, now when I think back on it, I'm so thankful that that took place. Where, again, the other attorney on the other side was super aggressive, very rude, condescending, and he it's like he was trying to sell me snake oil to try to get some sort of nominal settlement done, and I didn't know any better. Let's just say, thankfully in that situation, my client was not very credible. Uh, I mean, thankful for me as an attorney because that case couldn't go any further. I had to close that case earlier. It wasn't a smart decision to keep it open, but basically I would say the way that he spoke to me, and even on the CNR document, he tried to sneak in language that the applicant agrees to pay for all liens, something like that. Yeah,
Wow.
wow.
yeah, and at first glance, oh, I've done CNRs before. You're a young attorney, you think you know it all already, and you're reading through it, and you're like, wait a minute, that should not be.
Yeah.
So I go up to him
That
like,
didn't
bro,
work
what
out.
is this? What are you putting in here? He's like, see, you're a better attorney than me. Made a mistake. I'm like, you son of a bitch,
But
man.
he was lying. Yeah, he just snuck it in there to see if you'd catch it.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm
Mm.
thankful now because basically all the stupid shit that this guy tried to do, now it's like the first few stuff I'm looking out for all the time, automatic. Like I don't even think about it. So it went from like a potentially embarrassing situation to now it's just I'm thankful for it.
Yeah.
Should we
Yeah.
pull another
Here,
one?
let me ask the next one. Just grab a random one.
Okay, then I'll give you this one so you can choose. So
All right,
you're
give it.
not like, oh, you cheated. You gave
Give
me
it,
the
give it.
one you wanted,
Yeah. All right. I got it. Here we go. Oh no, we already asked that basically. This is a good question. Can you share? I'll start with you. Can you share a memorable experience where effective negotiation skills were key in achieving a favorable outcome for your client?
I mean, that's all the time. That's, every day for me.
Yeah.
Everyone has their own, settlement negotiation style. But yeah, I mean, that's for me every day. My style is,
I know there's just give us a story if you have one, like one time that you remember you're like what you felt good, like, oh, I messed that guy up.
damn.
No, Anna?
Yeah, let me
Anything comes
think.
to mind?
I think as a defense attorney, I've done that more than as an
Yeah.
applicant attorney, just because at the end of the day, you don't truly know what authority that they have.
Yeah.
But as a defense attorney, I think I've done a lot where I'm like, oh, that was so much easier than I thought. And the applicant attorney never negotiated back.
Yeah.
I probably would have given like half of the authority that I had because I would always start way low.
Sure.
I think as a defense attorney, I have a lot of those stories where I've given them, and again, I don't want to give names. And
No.
you feel when the applicant attorneys, at that point, the applicant attorneys were in need, and that's why I've used that now to try to tell my clients, we can negotiate. I understand you want to close your case today, but we cannot show urgency. I think as a defense attorney, what I was looking for when the applicant gives me a number,
Yeah.
are they urgent to close the case? Is there like, hey, I want it today? And if you feel that's where they're coming from, you just give them very low offer, and sometimes they just take it.
Sure.
So on an applicant side, I don't think you truly will know the authority that they have unless you receive a letter which you're supposed to send them back to them, which has happened to me, but you've already seen the number, the authority that they have. But I think more on the defense side, I've seen that happen.
Yeah. I mean, I think this question is very general, right? It's kind of hard to remember specific situations. Did you get anything?
Yeah, there's two. Well, one of them, it was not so much of like negotiations, but I remember that, my friend, he referred me his mom. He was like, hey, my mom got injured at work. I want you to handle her case.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm honored, thank you. And she fell at work, and the employer didn't offer her medical treatment. And he was like, look, I want to close this case out. Him and his mom were like, let's just close this case out. And she didn't really want to return to work because of the way the situation was handled. So I said, okay, the end goal here is to get you maximum compensation as soon as possible.
Right.
So I just was bombarding the insurance company initially, like, hey, you didn't send my client for medical treatment. You need to authorize whatever doctor I tell you. And, if you don't do that, or you don't start paying my client benefits, today, like, we're going to refer this out. We're going to file a bad faith insurance claim against you. And was nonstop, just push right from the beginning. And they immediately referred it out to an attorney to handle for the insurance. I filed an expedited hearing on it immediately, and kind of just went to court and was like, yo, we're not budging on this thing. She was collecting Social Security. So we had, there was an MSA issue. So we had 2 cases.
Nice.
But we were able to get her $50,000, I would say probably within a 6-week span. And so I don't know what kind of settlement negotiation, style that is, but that was just being super aggressive and not taking no for an answer. And because we had nothing to lose, she was not going to return to there. So it was like, you can continue on. And that was kind of in your face. Like, you guys are in the wrong. You guys did bad, and we're going to get you for doing bad.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Thank you.
What else do we have? Who's next?
I'll go. What are some strategies you use to manage stress and maintain a healthy work-life balance as an attorney and law firm owner? Well, we know yours. Yours is like planning to like every minute, every detail, right? So that way, I'm assuming you have enough free time for you and your newborn son and your wife and the remodeling of your house.
Also, I'll add I play soccer twice a week and video games occasionally after work. I mean, it helps.
Yeah, I get it. Brain dump. Sometimes after work, I'm like, hey, like, I can't even think. Like, I don't want to think. I just put on the TV or something.
We used to go out more, right? Like for drinks and stuff after work.
We
but
did.
I think after COVID, I've definitely become more of a homebody. I'm not as urgent or enthusiastic. Like, let's always meet up. I think after I started the new firm, I did put an active effort in to network more. But as far as like stress release, I think that basically sums it up.
Do you network?
I have my waves in networking. There are times where I feel like I'm ready. I want to talk to people. I want to go out more. And there are times where I'm not. Usually what I do a lot of lunches with different attorneys. For me, that hour, 2 hours a day gives me a lot of like energy. It boosts me. It's kind of like also one way to, distress, because I feel for me when I'm talking to other attorneys and you feel you're not alone, that just calms me down.
Yeah.
So I don't network mean in terms of like going out to like events, which I've done. And again, it goes in waves when I do it, but more of having lunches with different attorneys. One thing that I do is there's a massage place very close to my office. So sometimes when I feel like I can't take this anymore, I just walk in there, you have an hour massage.
That's good.
And then, that makes me feel better. Other than that, outside of the office, I try to not work on Saturday and Sunday, although Saturday I still do a couple of hours. Sunday is the time where I just do whatever. Usually that's being a couch potato. That's the preference. But another thing that makes me feel better and just kind of forget about work stress is doing nails or doing hair or going shopping. That's pretty much nothing special, nothing different. But during the week, for sure, lunches. I think that I'll say that's one thing I enjoy doing, like going out with attorneys, just across San Ventura somewhere, nothing far, nothing fancy. It's just time away from the office.
Yeah. We've always had good lunches, I feel like.
Yeah.
You guys got to invite me to these lunches.
Anytime. Mendocino is just right across.
Okay.
If nowhere, we can go there. Should I Did you answer that? Go for it before we go on another
Yeah,
one.
I guess for me, I love to travel. I love to like take vacations and travel the world, make some connections.
Yeah, you've been traveling a lot.
Yeah, so I would just work hard, like work hard, work hard, work hard, work hard. I'm off for a week, like do not bother me. Although I'm still answering emails, while I'm
Yeah, you have
away,
to.
but that's easy. It's just like, hey, like I'll just ask my paralegal, like, can you get them this or whatnot, or I'll just let them know, like, hey, I'm on vacation, like, can you just hit me up in a week or so. But yeah, I think that's where I really enjoy like my stress relief.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in traveling more now.
Yeah, but you got a new baby.
I know.
Now time for you now.
Yeah, not now.
Should I cheat a little
Just
bit
pick
or
one. No,
no?
just grab one.
No
If
cheating.
we
Okay, let's
covered
see
it,
this one.
skip it.
What's the weirdest food combination you have ever tried and actually liked?
Interesting.
Oh, actually, on my most recent trip in Vietnam, balut is the egg
Yeah.
with the duck egg with it's kind of already been growing inside the egg, and actually it was not bad. It was basically like a hard boiled egg, but just very salty. So that was easy for me.
Solid. Yeah. I would say the the food combos that are weird would be stuff that my wife or my wife's family prepares. Like usually it's like a Armenian Persian style dish, the old recipes or whatever. And me, I like putting hot sauce and lemon on things. And she's like, you just don't eat, you know, uh, like ashrechte, gourmet size. Like you don't mix that with Cholula lemon.
Of course you
But
don't.
I'm like, hey, I like it. It tastes good. That's how I want to eat it. She's like, you're just doing such a disservice to my family's
Culture.
recipe. I'm like, I think it's a good change.
One thing that I've tried, and actually it was last year. Have you eaten conch? I hope I'm pronouncing it
Conch?
right. It's called conch.
No.
Went to Bahamas celebrating my 40th birthday. That
What
gives
is it?
my. It's some sort of sea food,
Is
but
it like
they
a
make
shell?
it like they make it in a cup. They mix it with different fruits like orange
Yeah.
and pineapple, and they mix it up and give you in this little cup. That's what I've tried. You can Google, see. I don't know how it's written, but
But is
they
it a
they called it conch.
Is it shellfish?
It's some sort of like it from outside. It looks like shrimp,
Okay.
but without the shell.
Did
Okay.
you like
So it's
it?
I liked it. It was very good. That's a weirdest food combination I would say I've eaten, and I liked it. It has sweet in there. It has lemon in there, so it's
interesting.
good.
Sounds good.
Your turn.
Yeah, you're
Pick.
next.
I have my questions here.
Oh, you have your questions.
What are some commonly overlooked resources that assist injured workers throughout the claims process based on experience? Just things that, yeah, I guess it's for injured workers to use as resources.
Man, I don't feel that there's a lot of resources for injured workers.
Besides
there
our
are some,
offices?
yeah, calling us.
Calling
Oh,
us
yeah.
10,000 times a day. One thing that I would just comes up to my mind is when an applicant goes to a doctor's office, I think they need to understand that I'm right here. If there's
Yeah.
anything I need to communicate to my attorney that the doctor's office told me, this is the time now. I tell them a lot of times, don't call me when you leave that office telling me the doctor's office told me they don't have your MRI. So stand right there, call my office and say, hey, Anna, I'm right now in the doctor's office. You told me you sent them my MRI, but they don't have it. What can I do? And then I say, okay, give me the phone to the front desk girls. And I
Yeah.
just fax the report right there. I think one resource that they can use, they need to understand that besides us, doctors' offices can assist them as well. Getting their own follow-up appointments or making sure their reports are there. I think that's one resource. But other than that, I don't think they have a lot
a good point.
resources to fall on besides our offices.
Yeah, but attorneys' offices in general can provide injured workers with good resources. Like, for example, I get a lot of the same questions. So I've basically prepared sheets. Like, I have a TBI sheet I've used in the past that when, for example, someone comes and is wondering, oh, is this, what kind of injury do I have or whatever, I'll go through the checklist with them that I've basically put together, and we'll go through the symptoms, and it has like links and stuff on there that they can use to go and read and learn more about the injuries that they're facing. Like, so any resources I provide is more towards helping them understand what's happening.
I had a way back a simple couple of page sheet that I took from the board one time
Yeah.
that would give them what's a TD, what's a PD, I
Yeah.
mean temporal disability or permanent disability, or what's venue, or what does this mean on this document that you see, just general abbreviations. I've used that a lot, but then they call you asking you questions about that.
Yeah, yeah.
So it can be a benefit to them, but sometimes people who don't understand, then they're going to call you, ask you questions for something that does not even pertain to them.
Sure.
That they may not even like. And what's an AME? You don't have an AME, a Greek medical examiner, in all of the cases. So sometimes that would just give them extra information that they need at that moment. But I think that's helpful for them to at least understand generally what those terms are.
Sure. The board actually has a pretty good website. If you go, if
DIR.
yeah, the dir.ca.gov. If you go on it, they have like a section if you're an injured worker and then if you're an attorney. And the one that if you're an injured worker, it basically gives general blueprint of how a workers' comp case goes. You know what else has a really good resource? The DWC1 form, the long version.
Yeah.
It has like its second and third page. It has good information on there. Like one time earlier on, clients would call me and they'd be like, "Hey, isn't this? Don't they only have like 90 days to make a decision on whether my case is?" I'm like, "Yeah, where did you learn this from?" And then that's where I finally read the DWC.
One thing though that's not that I feel may complicate our job as an attorney is when they start looking up things online.
Yeah, on Google.
And or Google, and they come like, how come I found this information but this is not what you told me?
Yeah.
That can sometimes hurt though.
Sure.
It's just by, depending on who the applicant is. I don't think you can direct all of them to Googling, because then that's going to work out against yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
What do you two find the most frustrating, like, in preventing you or being an applicant's attorney? So, like, what's most frustrating about representing injured workers?
For me, the most frustrating part is getting an authorization for them to see a primary treating physician.
Right? Yep. I was gonna say something
That's the
very
first.
similar. But
Correct.
yes.
It's like you want them to see a doctor. As we all know, you have to issue a designation. You issue a designation. First of all, getting the MPN link sometimes can take 2 weeks.
Yeah.
While the applicant sitting at home waiting for you to get the link, do the designation, then wait on an authorization for them to see a doctor. Not even that, the network. You go on to this website of the medical provider network and you're looking for a doctor and you call their office, doctor is not practicing at that clinic, or
They don't even do work
we
comp.
don't do
Yeah.
work comp,
Yep.
or how come our name's there? We've been removed from their list 10 years ago. So
Yeah.
I feel for me, finding a primary treating physician within reasonable distance is one of the first things that frustrates me the most.
100%. And to go off your point, just an example, one of the doctors that was on the MPN I found was my friend. He works at Cedars-Sinai. He's a neurologist. I'm like, hey, I call him. I'm like, when did you join the MPN and when did you start doing workers' comp cases? He's like, brother, what are you talking about?
Wow.
I sent him the link. He's like, I have no idea why my name is there. I have not worked on one workers' comp case. And he was the only neurologist on the MPN for that client. And I'm just like, what is this process? This person is at home. They're not doing anything. They're suffering from an injury. They have no access to go to medical treatment because, number one, the company's clinic is only evaluating them for orthopedic injuries. In no way, shape, or form are they diagnosing this person or referring them out properly. And now, since I'm tasked with finding a neurologist on their network, you're giving me a list of doctors where they don't even know that they're on the network. So I somehow then am tasked with having to explain that to the client so that you don't lose credibility as an attorney, because then they're sitting at home, they're saying, hey, I have my friends, they got into car accidents and they get treatment the next day.
Yep.
How come it's taking me 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month to get treatment? And it's not a simple conversation, right? It's very nuanced conversation about the way workers' comp is, and things could go one way, could go another way. I mean, you're basically at the mercy of sometimes the adjuster that you get and their work ethic. Like if they're checking emails only once a day and they have probably, let's say 200, 500 cases, I don't know how many, but you're just a number to them. They have no urgency to help you out. And until you know, you need to buy yourself enough time with the client to get the case moving. So 100% what you said is the most annoying part of the case.
Yeah. Just general access to doctors,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Because even if the case is denied, there's very limited doctors who will take workers' comp because they're like, well, in the end, I'm going to get shitted on with, they're going to slash my fees.
Yeah.
And then if the insurances decide to accept liability, then we have to treat with doctors in their network. And you go onto the network and you see that half those doctors are Concentra doctors, and Concentra is, in my opinion, the devil. I always say that to my clients, like, I hope they're watching, and you're just that, Concentra is the devil. Those, those doctors are there, they will just turn and burn. They'll give you the very basic treatment that you need, get our clients back out to work, and it's all.
What is interesting, though, is the adjusters never have issues scheduling applicants with Concentra.
Absolutely.
Following that, Concentra has an appointment. You try to get an appointment with a decent primary treating physician, you have to wait 30 days.
Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes 45, sometimes 60 to get your first appointment. So
But that's their game. Their game is delay and drive you crazy.
that's one of the biggest problems I think we would face. One other thing that I find a big challenge, not a challenge because you get used to it, but more of a problem for injured workers is you file for hearing, right? You file declaration of readiness to proceed for a hearing. Your hearing can be set 3-4 months out. And within those 3-4 months, God knows who's
Anything
alive,
can
who's
happen,
dead by that time.
That is also a good point, and it made me consider not filing in Van Nuys anymore.
Yeah. You and I have had this conversation.
Yeah. So there's boards outside of Van Nuys, obviously, and Van Nuys is very busy. I know some of the outskirts of LA boards, they get hearings in a week or two.
They do, but then also workers' compensation judges in Van Nuys
Yes, that's
are
the risk.
pro-applicant.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you're going to go in a month and you have a higher potential of losing,
Yeah.
I would wait 2 months and have a better outcome.
Sure.
My opinion.
It's a consideration. I feel like at the end, I decided when I know off the bat that it's going to be a highly litigated case, that I'm going to consider filing outside just so I don't have to wait for hearings. Because if I had a trial once and it went for 6 continued trial dates.
Van Nuys.
Yeah.
And it spanned over 2.5 years.
Yeah.
I mean, by that point, there's no momentum on the case, you know,
Yeah.
and that was on a threshold issue. So basically, for anyone watching, they were arguing that my client was an independent contractor when I was arguing, obviously, that he was an employee. So in order to even get medical treatment and get the case approved or denied, that issue needs to be resolved first. So we had to wait 2.5 years just to get a decision, and then we can finally start working up the case under the insurances network. So the delays definitely create a nightmare situation.
Yeah. So for my accepted liability cases where I know my client is going to need treatment, I file Marina Del Rey.
Yeah.
Shout out to Marina Del Rey if the judges are watching. I'm trying to send them business, but yeah, it's a decent that board that courthouse is pretty decent. Getting us court hearings within 4 weeks. So if the case is denied, send it to Van Nuys, and sometimes delay is on your side.
From my office, I do a lot of expediteds, and
Yeah.
expediteds are going to be in person. Am I going to drive 10 minutes to Van Nuys board or an hour
Yeah, I
and
get
10
that.
to Marina? I don't know. I personally like Van Nuys board. I think 95, if not more, % of the judges know me by name.
Yeah.
So I
And
feel
they're
more
cool.
comfortable.
Yeah.
They're very
They have their own band. Do you know that?
yeah. Of course I know. They played one day when I was there.
Me
Their band
too.
was playing. So I personally like Van Nuys just because it's closer to me. Judges are more applicant friendly. So I personally like Van Nuys.
All right. What's next?
How do you approach marketing and promoting your law firm services to attract new clients?
Okay. That's a good question.
Yeah. Well, I would say so. Like for us, we get a huge referral source from previous clients.
Okay.
So always like making sure that I get great settlements. That's it. It's like, hey, you're coming to me for 2 things: to get you medical treatment and to get you compensation. So like I'm gonna try to get you the maximum compensation I can get, and hopefully the word of mouth, they'll tell their friends and family and whatnot. And the same, if an attorney refers me a case, they're gonna get a referral fee, and So the bigger settlement I get, the more money they'll get. So for me, it's always just, that's my reputation. Like, hey, if you get Rob on the case, like he's going to be aggressive and he's going to get a great settlement.
Yeah.
So send it to him.
Do you still have the bus ads or no?
No. Oh man. The bus ads. So I have a partner, his name is Erwin. He's a great guy. And we when we first started out, we did bus ads, and we just kind of piecemealed it, and we did it for 3 months. We actually got an extension because we were like, we haven't got any phone calls from these bus ads, and the guy felt bad. He's like, all right, I'll give him.
What was it?
Injured on the job. Call Erwin and Rob.
Yeah, there you go.
And so he gave us another month. But probably the best part about that was getting pictures from friends. Like, hey, I saw you on the back of a bus.
That was me.
Yes, you and other people. Or one time I was sitting at a bar and the bus was coming by and I saw that. I was like, hey, that's me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was not great.
So for you, it's referrals and repeat clients.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
Solid. What about you, Anna?
Well, I started about February of 2021.
Yeah.
So my firm just turned 3 years old. I haven't advertised at all. All of my cases at the beginning were coming from attorneys, attorney friends, attorneys that have known me in the past. And I think at this point already, as you said, it's clients sending their families and friends and people that they know, which is the best case that you can. And recently, actually this year, I got 2 from defense attorneys where I've closed cases with. So that's the best compliment I think you can get. The defense attorney called me. He's like, I know we're done with this case, but I was going to give your number to a friend of mine. Are you okay with that idea? I'm like, of course I'm okay with that idea. I think that's the best compliment for me, at least I feel. But other than that, I don't advertise my services. I think people already, when you do, I think 3 years, after 2 years, it's clients bringing clients.
Yeah.
But most of the cases that I've received at the beginning when I started my firm was through PI attorneys or employment attorneys or attorneys that practice other areas, just because I don't do any of those areas. So they referred me cases.
But you also had like a good network too, which helped.
I do, yeah. I feel like a lot of people know me. Not that I'm just bragging about it or anything. It's just, a lot of people just knew me as because of friends or the prior experiences in my life in the firm that I worked at. So it kind of started off with having a lot of people who were there trying to refer cases.
Yeah.
But right now, I feel those cases are becoming less, and the ones that are coming from clients are becoming more. So. Yeah, but other than that, I don't do any advertising or any form of marketing.
That's great. I mean, until today, right?
Until today, I guess. Yeah, this is to you asking me to be here, to be present, which I appreciate. Thank you so much for that. As I said, this is outside of my comfort zone, but it felt like very easy, and thank you.
Thank you. I mean, I love having you here. I mean, I respect you as an attorney, and
thank you.
You've taught me quite a few things about work comp too.
Thank you.
Over the years. I'm on the other end of the spectrum though. I mean, I do enjoy marketing and advertising. Like at the end of the day, I feel like it's a necessary step in growing your brand and reputation. And I just think that there's so much business in California and Los Angeles that I don't want some of these files to go into the hands of these horror story attorney offices that I hear about. Like, I feel like I am capable of handling any client, any case, and giving them, if I can't handle the case, at least giving them, the best advice I can on what to do. And I don't have the, what's the good word? Like, I find that there's a gap where I'm not able to reach everyone that I would like to without advertising and marketing. So I feel like it's necessary for me to expand outside of just my regular circles and networks. So I'm all for it and growing my brand.
Well, we'll be here watching you, and when you get up there, don't forget about us.
Never.
I'm kidding. Thank you so much for having us today.
No problem. Any last comments to you, Rob?
No, just, thank you for doing that. I know you're passionate. So maybe I would ask you, like, why do you do what you do? But outside the podcast, like, why do you represent injured workers?
Why do I do what I do? I mean, I couldn't represent insurance companies. I'm just not built that way.
Yeah.
I like helping people.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like even if I'm, like I said, if I'm not even taking on their case, I still want to help nudge them in the right direction and try to give them some advice on what to do, because the fact is there isn't enough information out there for everyone that's an employee or injured worker to know what to do when they get injured. So it's like little by little you hope that you can spread the word and get the message across.
Yeah. Well, Anna and I talked. We both represented, we both did defendant side,
Yeah.
representing insurance companies.
I think that helped me a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know what your experience is, but I think for me, that helped me a lot to know what can get out of this case. Because then you see the other side, you see the struggles that as a defense attorney you may have trying to educate a 22-year-old or a 20-year-old adjuster that
Yeah.
barely has a high school degree. So I think for me, it helped me a lot to see the other side and learn. And then once I did the applicant work, I think it's more rewarding
Yeah.
than any defense work.
Absolutely. I think like the biggest perspective I got for the defense attorney, like, it's for the insurance companies, bottom line, it's about money. Like that's
Correct.
all it is like, hey, like
Saving money.
Yeah, saving money. So the way that I present my cases to a lot of defense attorneys, I say like, hey, I will show you my playbook. Here's what I'm going to do, and here's what it's going to cost you and your client. So for these reasons, it's best to resolve this case at this amount. But yeah, definitely since I switched sides, I'm more passionate. I've always wanted to be a lawyer, and representing the insurance companies was fun, especially, Michael and I had 2 cases together, and we did some
Yeah.
depositions against each other. That was a lot of fun. That's how we became friends,
Yeah.
despite us
He
being
thought
on-
I was bullshitting.
I did think he was bullshitting. Absolutely, absolutely. I was like, let me talk to you outside, Michael. Come on, let's step outside. I will say this: that he got me on one case.
Yeah.
There was the knee case where we ended up settling for a decent amount of money, and then there was another one where maybe I don't know if the client was credible or not, but definitely the facts were more in my favor, I guess. And so you still got a settlement, yes?
I won both.
Yeah, you will always win. I do try to tell that to my clients. Is if we file the claim, it's likely we are going to win. It's just a matter of
How much.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, representing injured workers is a lot more rewarding. I'm a lot more passionate about what I do since switching sides, because these people are getting shitted on all day.
At least you've tried to help a person versus when you represent an insurance company, all you have done save them money.
Yeah.
How quickly can you bill to be able to save them
Yeah.
$1,000 or whatever that amount of money is? But on an injured worker side, even if you get them a little amount of settlement, 10,000, 15,000, for them, that's a lot of money.
Yes.
And for them, they would not have even received, anything close to that if they did not have an attorney.
Yeah. And so like even like defense attorneys are like, I don't want to send all these records to the QME, the neutral doctor, because they're gonna bill us additional $200, $300 for this, and I'm like, my heart hurts for your $1 billion client. I don't care.
Well, thank you guys.
Thank you.
I think we're about to close for today's session, but it was fun. I'm very glad we did it. We've been talking about doing this session for a long time, and I think it came out solid.
Yeah, happy to get the word out there.
Was it as bad as you thought it was going to be?
No. It's not. It was
Told you.
good. Thank you.
Yeah. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed the podcast, please like, subscribe, comment. They do help us make more good content. And thank you again for watching. Until next time, take care.